Methodical and clear. This animated diagram shows the basic framework of the ICD-10-CM manual. Every single accurate diagnosis code requires you to navigate this exact split. You have a massive alphabetical list on one side for locating a potential code, and a structured alphanumeric list on the other side for finalizing a valid code. Think of the Alphabetic index as a web search engine. It processes your keywords and points you in a general direction. The tabular list is the verified source article. It holds the actual clinical facts, the precise definitions, and the specific rules that make a code valid. This relationship leads us to a core memory concept we use, called the MJ-GEM. You use the index to find the code, and you use the tabular list to define and confirm the code. If you read a search result headline but skip reading the actual source article, you miss the critical context. In coding, pulling a diagnosis directly from the index without verifying it in the tabular list guarantees errors. Accurate coding requires both steps every time. This abstract flowchart shows how your starting point, the alphabetic index, is actually constructed. It branches into 4 distinct components: the index of diseases and injury, the index of external causes of injury, the table of neoplasms, and the table of drugs and chemicals. Let's say you are looking up a baseline condition to save time. You navigate the diseases branch, locate your term, and extract a preliminary code. Submitting that preliminary code straight to billing triggers an immediate claim denial. The index provides categories, but it often lacks the required detail, leaving your extracted code completely unspecified. To fix that, we have to look at the tabular list. This animated diagram shows how the tabular is organized into 22 distinct chapters, neatly categorized by specific body systems and conditions. This is your mandatory verification point. Once inside a chapter, the tabular list reveals hidden instructional notes, specifically includes and excludes rules. These rules are completely absent from the alphabetic index. Reading these instructions forces you to refine your initial choice. You confirm the exact anatomical site, the severity, and rule out any excluded conditions, arriving at an accurate, highly specific final code. The alphabetic index can only point you toward a general category. Skipping the tabular list means you are bypassing the rigid legal definitions and instructional notes required for compliance. Most of your work happens in that main disease index, but certain complex medical scenarios require a different approach right from the start. This animated diagram highlights 2 mandatory exceptions: the table of neoplasms, which you use for tumors, and the table of drugs and chemicals, which covers poisonings and adverse effects. When you encounter these specific conditions, navigating to these subtables is a strict requirement. You cannot use standard lookup methods for tumors or chemical reactions. Let's test this logic. A patient presents with an adverse reaction to penicillin. Based on what we've covered, where do you start your search, and what is your immediate next step? Recognizing the specific conditions that demand a special table acts as a primary filter. It stops you from going down the wrong path and prevents massive miscoding on complex charts. This animated workflow shows the exact path for our penicillin scenario. Because it's an adverse reaction, you must start in the table of drugs and chemicals to locate the preliminary code, and then follow the arrow directly to the tabular list to verify it. Applying the MJ-GEM principle, finding your starting point, then actively defining the code through verification, is your defense mechanism. It ensures you never fall into the unspecified code trap. Let's finalize the rules. Number 1, start in the index to find your code. Number 2, finish in the tabular list to define and verify that code. And number 3, never, under any circumstances, assign a code directly from the alphabetic index alone. Strict adherence to this 2-step verification process on every single chart removes the guesswork. It is the only reliable way to ensure diagnostic accuracy, maintain compliance, and secure proper reimbursement.